What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. I am your host, the Fellow KGB. You can follow me on Twitter at the Fellow KGB. And tonight, Tuesday Night Hangout, we got Drake and John with us tonight. I got links in the description below for their Twitter handles. You guys can check them out there. Drake, welcome to the show, man. How's it going?
I am doing great tonight. Thank you, Kyle.
Yeah, man. And John, what is up?
Not too much, man. Not too much. Just getting my NBA Top Shot on today.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to kind of dust off some Top Shot talk at some point in this hour. But we were just kind of talking before we went live here.
I don't want any more competition for packs. Don't say a thing.
We'll save that for off the air talk, I suppose. But Top Shot, one quick right there. But John, we were talking about the Lakers just before we went live here. What do you got for us with the Lakers?
Well, I think it would behoove us, if you will, to talk about the Lakers a little bit to kick the show off. They're leading the league in winning percentage. They look pretty damn good, and they look like they're definitely on track, like where they want to be on track. You know, especially with a bunch of turnover on the roster, kind of those 3, 4, 5 guys. You know, after LeBron and AD, I think they're definitely where they want to be. But the conversation we were having specifically before we hopped on, I just pulled up my DraftKings, but I made a bet on January 13th. I think this was either the day or the day after LeBron had his first 30-point game of the season. And it was an MVP bet. I bet on him to win the MVP this year. And it pays, basically, multiplies your money by 11 times. So it's like a plus 1,000 payout. At the time I made that bet, I'm sure it's way, way ramped up now because he just had a 40 burger last night. And but he's just, I feel like LeBron is, I don't know if he's trying yet. I think he was probably trying last night. I definitely caught a little bit of that game. I definitely caught the full fourth quarter. And I think he was trying then. I don't know if he was trying so much in the first half. Drake might have caught the whole game, and he can fill us in. But I watched. You guys all know I'm a Bucks fan at this point because you all love me so much. And I watched that Lakers Bucks game on January 21st, and he put up 34. He had a couple rebounds, had a couple assists. Doing his normal LeBron thing. But the whole game, I was just like, I'm not exactly sure he's trying. And then I think we gave him a hard foul or something weird happened in the second half. And I remember tweeting, what the fuck did we do to piss off LeBron? Because he's trying now. And this is something I think people have been talking about with LeBron since maybe year 3 with the Heat. How they don't necessarily, or maybe year 4 with the Heat. So like 2013, 2014 timeframe, he has a switch and he flips it. He toys with it in the regular season, but he really flips it in the playoffs. And I just feel like I'm seeing it again. LeBron can go into his bag at any time and pull out the big guns, win a game, hit crazy fadeaway jumpers over poor Isaac Okoro. And he just, whenever he wants, against any defender he wants, at any time he wants. And if stuff really hits the fan, he can just throw lobs to AD. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I think we've pontificated in the past about how amazing LeBron is, but this year is really doing some icing on the cake for me. I'm very, very impressed. I think he looks really good. And I have not seen him try for more than a half in a couple different games this year.
And it looks like coming up on the schedule for the Lakers, they get Philadelphia, Boston, Denver's, and 3 of the next 5 games are pretty tough, top competition. So we might see some really good stuff from LeBron and the Lakers coming up. But, man, that was a really good opportunity to get in on the LeBron James MVP prop bet tonight. I guess 2 weeks ago you put that in there. So if it's not LeBron James at this moment, who would it be?
I think you got to go LeBron right now. Just the level he's playing at, kind of like John shadowed on. He just has that. If he wants to score, he can score at any point. Anyone that's watched LeBron throughout his career, he just kind of can take that over, and there's nothing any defender can do against him. It's insane to watch. It's more fun to watch when you're cheering for LeBron. I can tell you that. But
what did you notice? Because a resident Cavs fan of the show. What was your take from last night? You kind of talked about.
Well, I messaged you guys this morning about it. To my displeasure, a Cavs exec exec you met here. I'm trying to think who it was. They said who it was, but I forget who the exec was. But LeBron missed the last shot of the third quarter, kind of bricked it up, and the Cavs had the lead by like 1 point. And this guy kind of heckled at him, and LeBron turned around and gave him the look, and then he scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. So
What was that score going into the fourth quarter? Was it like a?
I think it was 86-85, or maybe it was 85-84. The Cavs were up by 1.
Okay.
If maybe John remembers better than I do, it was pretty close.
I came in the fourth. I
Okay.
probably started about the 10-minute mark of the fourth because I was
Okay.
watching some other games and YouTube TV is. I don't know if shout out to YouTube TV because they're like pulling arena feeds into YouTube TV lately. I was able to watch some Thunder Blazers last night. I was able to watch like 4 different games last night because they're pulling in different arena feeds. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They weren't doing it last week.
Okay.
And they're doing it the past 2 days, as far as I can tell. And I don't know if they're going to keep doing it, but I've been skipping around the games, but it's been awesome.
Yeah.
But yes, I noticed LeBron was out for blood when I turned it on, and then I never turned it off because when LeBron's out for blood, that's very high quality entertainment.
So I guess I don't really have a direction for the rest of the show. Did you guys have anything else on the top of your minds? Otherwise, we can maybe look at some potential. I did a waiver wire show yesterday. I called up some names, and John got the one guy that I was like raving about before the show, and it's Jeremy Lamb.
I saw him on Monday.
And I was watching Lamb all Sunday, all Monday. I was just looking at his stuff, and I'm like, maybe I can kind of sneak in there and grab him. But Jeremy Lamb, John, what made you go get Jeremy Lamb here?
Well, I affectionately refer to him as Wham Bam Jeremy Lamb, and he's a delight. He was totally off my radar this year because of his ACL tear, maybe last about February or so last year, and I just totally lost him. Totally out, not even in my peripheral. But the Victor Oladipo trade got me thinking a little bit about the Pacers traded away Oladipo in the midst of the Harden blockbuster, and just kind of thinking through that logically. I was like, okay, what kind of wings, shooting guard type players do the Pacers have? I know TJ Warren's not been doing so hot, and I don't even really know who they have outside of him. And so I started doing a little research. I noticed Jeremy Lamb played like 2 games. I think I looked at this maybe on the 22nd. So I noticed that 30-point game, and I noticed the minutes ramping up, and I knew he was coming back from injury. And I thought maybe there'll be some missed games here and there, but this guy's already putting up 30 pointers, at least fantasy point wise, pretty quickly after coming back from an ACL. That's always a good sign to me. I feel like if I can stomach a couple missed games just for rest and recovery, he's going to be a good piece for me. I mean, my team stinks anyway, so it's really easy for me to just add lottery picks every week, every day if I really want to. But he seems like he's got some staying power. I think we can see here he's only about 36% rostered, only about a third of ESPN leagues. I go grab him even if I have a guy on my bench that's okay, that I kind of want to hold, I would still probably grab Lamb. I think he's got some moonshot potential. I think he could be sniffing, somewhere around 30, 35 fantasy points a game at some point this year.
And the cool part is last night he got the most minutes of the season so far with 33. He puts up 22 points against Toronto. He's going to be productive, in all categories as well. So 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. And he's just getting going. He's just getting this is his first full week back. He's going to probably somewhere settle in the upper, lower 30s minutes per game. So, man, this is the one. And with Sabonis now missing too, we might. I don't know how long he's going to be out with that knee bruise that he's got, but maybe for the next week or so they experiment with their lineups, and we should see quite a bit of Jeremy Lamb going forward. And this is the guy you can leave on your roster probably the rest of the season. We don't really see that many opportunities to get a guy that's going to stick with us, for the long term. So Jeremy Lamb, that was a hell of a pickup. I talked about him last night there too. So I don't know. Did you guys have any other pickups or anybody that you guys wanted to discuss? Any names that caught your eye?
I would this who else could win MVP discussion is really fascinating to me. We could maybe like end with something like that, Kyle, because it's not. I mean, it's fantasy related, but it's like, oh my God, look at Nikola Jokic. He's really good at basketball and gets a lot of fantasy points. Like that's maybe not necessarily helpful for the people, but whether it's online or offline, that's a discussion I'd love to have further with you guys. But
here's a guy I like, and I'm going to get laughed at because this is actually the reason I didn't pick up Jeremy Lamb on Monday morning. It's because I was kind of playing around with my roster. I didn't know if Tatum was going to play. They said he might play. I didn't know if I had to move Turner off my IR or if he was going to play. So it's kind of some weird stuff going on in the morning. It's like I'll let it ride, and then John, the sniper he is, get them. But a guy to look at is Cameron Johnson.
Okay.
For the Suns. One, he's getting a lot of minutes. His last 3 games, he's at 28 minutes, 32 minutes, and 35. He played 35 minutes against the Nuggets. He has those 2 positions, and he's kind of gotten into that starting role. I think they came out and said that he was the starter now, Cameron Johnson. So he's kind of a guy that I like playing around with if anyone's looking for a waiver wire move.
And he's only 12.4% owned, and he's hitting that threshold that we have, kind of in the back of our minds of about 20 fantasy points per game. And he's getting minutes, too. Is he a second-year player? I'm not sure.
Yeah, second-year player. He played, UNC? Is that where he
UNC, yes.
Yeah.
Did you have any thoughts on Cameron Johnson real quick?
Well, he's another guy I had on my roster at one point this season. I think I'm the most dangerous in terms of waiver wire when my team is really bad, because then I'm just like, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'm gonna drop people at will, and I'll probably have a lot of good people to drop. So yeah, I've definitely ran out Cameron Johnson a couple times this year. You can see some lower scores, mingling with those kind of low mid 20 scores. That was kind of the reason I dropped him. I don't love, a little more inconsistent than you'd like, but if you can stack him, at 3 games in 4 days or 4 games in 6 days, kind of weak for Cameron, I'd grab him because he's definitely going to hit a couple mid high 20s during that period, and you probably get a decent ROI on your investment. I like that 122 stat line, though, where he's got 32 minutes and just only like a couple counting stats. That's one of those like Tony Snell stat lines to me, Drake, where the guy's literally just out there running. And I always enjoy a little bit of that.
I just want to take a peek real quick at the depth chart for Phoenix real quick. Let's see what we're working with. I think everybody's relatively healthy. Devin Booker's day-to-day, I don't know what that's about. So they got him listed in here as a starter, and probably working in tandem with Jay Crowder for the most part there. So, I mean, this is the guy that's going to have for sure some value the rest of the way.
When's Dario coming back?
Let me take a quick look in here.
I didn't even know Dario was out.
I didn't either.
He's there on a $3-year, $27 million deal. Let me see real quick.
The Dario Sarich news is not updated regularly, I guess.
I like Dario.
It's a full moon kind of situation. So he's in the COVID protocols.
Okay.
He was playing earlier in the year, not really consistent minutes, you see, but productive. He's a scorer. He gets buckets and rebounds.
Yeah, I think with Cam Johnson, they're getting a better all-around player.
Right.
To kind of put with Chris Paul and Cam. I mean, Dario can shoot the 3 too. So I think maybe when he comes back, maybe we see Cam take a little dip, but he's probably still going to be the starter throughout the year.
It's interesting because Sarich is like a true traditional power forward. He's 6'10". He's got the build for it. Cam, he's got a good height, but he's a twig. I mean, he just in the modern NBA he could play power forward certainly, but even when Sarich was playing before, earlier in January and even in December when I owned him, Cam was playing and getting minutes and getting stats. So.
Okay.
I don't think Sarich impacts him too much, but I agree. You at least keep your eye on it. I mean, you don't want to, Sarich comes back and Cameron starts to tank. You might want to ditch Cameron.
Yeah.
I'm just going to click on the watch list for Mr. Sarich here. I kind of wanted to look real quick to Sometimes I get in the mood and I just want to filter by IR eligible just to see who's hanging around. And I just want to see real quick. We know Fultz is out for the season. Bryant, Dinwiddie. I'm not sure what's up with Killian Hayes. Is he out for the year? Reevaluated in 8 weeks, and that was last week. So we're not going to be needing Killian Hayes.
That was my rookie of the year pick, by the way.
I fed into it, man. I think it was one of my last picks, but I dropped him week 1. He had 5 points or something. I was like, I'm good. In like 32 minutes.
It's pretty slim here on the waiver wire.
The waiver wire was harsh this week. You really got to go dig in, and I think my number one thing to look at right now is minutes and opportunity, and just hope your guys can fill out some stats. If they're getting minutes, this is the NBA. They're going to fill out some stats.
So I'm just filtering here by the last.
Patrick Williams has been a guy I've been picking up. He's a starter for the Bulls at the moment. He's getting minutes. He's pretty inconsistent, though.
And there's your Cameron Johnson up here with 31.7 minutes. I noticed Gary Trent had a really good game last night, but it seems a little inconsistent. He put up 41 minutes, 22 points. Nothing really in the other columns here, but this is a guy that I'm going to put on my watch list for just a little bit since CJ McCollum's going to be out for at least another 3 weeks, I believe. So a lot of movement there going on in the Portland with their minutes. I'm trying to think of anybody else that would stick out here. Thaddeus Young. This is another guy that because he's just been ramping it up the last week or so. You see the season high of 44.75 points, a couple big booms here, and just I don't know what happened here, but Thaddeus Young's on the uptrend right now, and he's available in pretty much 90% of leagues. So, any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah, one thought as the resident Wendell Carter Jr. owner in our league 2 years in a row, non-dynasty, by the way. I just like WCJ. When he's been out, and he's been out pretty much ever since 117. So all these big scores are, I think there's a big, as you can kind of tell with Thad, especially since 118, there's been a big uptick in minutes. When he gets, regardless though of who's playing on the Bulls, when Thaddeus gets 20, 25 minutes or more, he puts up really good numbers, really consistently. I've hit on him a couple times with player props too in DraftKings this year, especially when there's injuries on the Bulls, or I just, for whatever reason, I have a good insight that he's going to be playing a lot of minutes. But he's a guy where if he's getting minutes, he's very, very reliable. Probably more reliable than anyone else available on the waiver wire in most of your leagues right now. But he doesn't always get the minutes, and that's the rub.
Kyle, can you hit refresh?
What are we doing?
Go to your watch list.
Where do you click on it from here? What are we looking at?
Thaddeus Young.
Was it not working?
Can you just click on him?
Yep.
I just picked him up while John was talking.
Oh, man. Okay. Interesting. So I don't know what his schedule the rest of the week is like. The game was postponed. That would have been tonight. So he's only got 2 more games the rest of the week. So I'm thinking next week he'll get to 4 games within that time span. But I don't know. There's a couple other guys that have been playing, I guess, on this list. I'll probably have to update it. But I don't know. I guess maybe we should let's just look at some questions from the chat room.
I need my stress ball, Kyle. I need my stress ball.
We got Dalton hanging out in the chat room tonight. What's going on, Dalton, man? Thanks for hanging out. He's saying he said good game to Drake last week. It was last week, right?
No, we're playing this week.
Playing this week. Okay, we take a look at that. Let's see what Dalton's got going on here. Oh, these goddamn ads. Dalton's got the Reggie Jackson being added tonight. Drake's got DeAndre Hunter going. Reggie Jackson, Herder, Rudy tonight. It's gonna be tonight's games stink. Look at these 3 games that we got going on here.
It's a rough night.
Not exactly.
Dalton had a really good night last night.
Who did?
Dalton did.
Oh, Dalton, yeah.
Yeah.
we'll
Can
see.
you go back to last night? Oh my gosh, yeah, I can see that he has 300 plus points.
Oh, Dalton's talking about Thaddeus.
Yeah, and he had 2 guys not even play last night. So 2 50 burgers, 40.
LeBron James.
Oh my god!
Not a
Can you
bad.
just pay Dalton now? Is he? I mean, he's pretty much going to win, right?
He's got
How did Schmitty beat him? Can we revisit that week?
Dalton, you're in the
spending
chat.
too much
How did
time on
Schmitty
it?
beat you?
Oh, it was Clint Capella, guys. Clint Capella.
Oh,
Capella
Capella.
had a nuts week.
We got Andrews in the
I
league.
smiled every time I saw Capella doing that.
Capella went nuclear.
Yeah.
So that's kind of just the way it went. But Oscar's laughing at our team names. But we did have a question in the chat room real quick. I want to look at Oscar was asking how can he improve Montrezl Harrell? John, you're a Montrezl Harrell owner. What are your thoughts on Montrezl Harrell so far?
So, well, my thoughts on Montrezl Harrell is he's kind of exactly what I thought he would be. He's, he's definitely not an elite center, but he's getting good opportunity on a good team. One of the biggest values that I thought I was going to get out of Harrell was Anthony Davis sitting out a lot of games early in the season, and maybe even a lot of the way through the season. But the Lakers just keep rolling out their lineup. I mean, I don't think Davis has missed many games, if any. I don't think LeBron has missed many games, if any. So it's just okay. So again, I thought that was going to be a big value add for Trez. That hasn't been happening, but Trez is still producing. I thought maybe he could creep around about 30 fantasy points a game at the beginning of the year. He's not miles away from that, but he's definitely not doing that well. In terms of improving your roster with a Trez trade, you're wondering if you should trade Luka and Rondo for Jokic. I would.
So I think that's Rando. So he's asking if he should send Luka and Rando for Jokic. Whereas I think I'm okay with keeping Harrell as my center. This isn't the worst case scenario.
No, it's not. I would if you could do maybe like Luka and Montrezl Harrell for Jokic and another piece. Someone who's averaging somewhere around 25 to 35 fantasy points a game, who you really like going forward. I would definitely consider that, but. I mean, I'm a big Luka guy, so I know he's maybe not doing exactly what you thought he'd be doing this year, but he's still incredible.
Did you see what Luka did last night, though?
He
just
did
some thoughts I have on the trade.
Just a cool
Maybe
0.75 last night.
Maybe you go looking for a guy that's not as big name as Jokic. Maybe you go looking for Orlando center. Go looking for someone like that who's really outperforming, or some. You don't have to have the best center, and you're giving up a lot to make that move just to improve one position. I think, Oscar. So I would maybe look at some other trade avenues.
I think it was John and I. We discussed Miles Turner as being a really good person to target right now. The dude's just a block monster. He put up another 3 blocks last night. The dude's probably leading the league in blocks. He's averaging 4 blocks a game, 39 fantasy.
Easily, yeah.
Like if I get if you can do a 2-for-1 to get Turner, I think that's a pretty significant improvement there. You can also throw in your random guy there as well.
It's a little too early to be trading your superstars yet.
Right. I wouldn't. If I'm the Jokic owner, I'm not moving Jokic right now.
No.
He's in that MVP discussion, that we were kind of hitting on earlier. That we know.
But definitely don't be moving Luka yet either.
Yeah, I would not want to move Luka for Jokic unless it's like Luka and Montrez for Jokic and a really good piece that I'm excited about. Yeah. Maybe I would maybe do that, and even that's kind of frightening. But yeah, Montrez, I like that idea of a 2-for-1. Like maybe like Montrez, and I don't know who the rest of your roster is, but like someone in that. Maybe in that Mikal Bridges range, maybe in that, maybe really a DeAndre Hunter guy, a guy you got off the scrap heap or you took at the end of your draft. You could turn him and Montrezl Harrell into something nice, especially a center. So I would definitely look for avenues to go that 2-for-1 route, Oscar. if you really want to do it. I actually agree with the panel here. I think Montrez as your number one center is not a terrible place to be. We've seen your team before. It's a pretty stacked team. You're probably winning a lot of games with Montrez at center. So I think you're probably okay to hold the fort. But yeah, a 2-for-1 is the way I would go.
Could you maybe put a low bid offer on Andre Drummond right now? He's kind of on a slight, downturn. He's been kind of shaky. Every other game he's been kind of playing like he normally does. But this might be a buy low opportunity for guys like that. I'd talk to the Drummond owner, maybe even Christian Wood owner. If he's been out for a few games, he might be a little frustrated. You can maybe do a 2-for-1 package to get a guy like Christian Wood. Those are probably two pretty good options. We both said Miles Turner is really fun.
I love Turner.
I'm trying to think of anybody else here. I still like Cantor quite a bit here. We know Nurkic is out for a little while here. Cantor went off. He had 22 rebounds last night, and he kind of just does these random big pop-offs every now and then. So that could be another buy low. But I think I'm totally cool with holding on to Montrez. It's not the worst, but he's consistent, and I value consistency. I don't have to worry about him, putting up a 10-point game or something like that. So
Yep.
I kind of wanted to see what else we got moving on in the chat room real quick.
I would like to get Drake's thoughts on the buy low of Drummond, and this is something we talked about last week. But it's fascinating to me. This Drummond thing is with the infusion of Jared Allen, with Okoro playing a lot of minutes at the bigs position, playing a lot of like power forward and even a little bit of center in small ball situations. I'd like to pick your brain about that again, Drake, if you have a thought.
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it a little last week, Thursday, towards the end there. I think the lineup we're going to see most is that the one we were seeing with Okoro, Allen, Sexton and Garland back, and then, Osman. And I think that is what they're going to be wanting to run out most of the time with this core. So I think Drummond right now is a little bit of a buy low opportunity if you want to buy into it. But as a seller, you're really not in a good situation to sell him. He's still going to get his minutes. But we saw in those Brooklyn games that we're really trying to run out the younger crew at the end there. And that's what this team's about, just kind of letting these guys play and figure out where they're at. And so it's pretty exciting, but it's kind of a stacked up group. And that's not even counting Kevin Love coming back yet, which is going to cut into everyone's minutes too.
You did kind of put the angle out there that if you were the Drummond owner, you wouldn't sell, but you just said Kevin Love's coming back. Maybe this is the moment to get out. Now if you can get someone of equal value, like
it's a tough situation. If you can get a Drummond pop off game here or pop off 2 games, maybe look at selling now.
Yeah,
I don't see his minutes going up. The Cavs organization and future is just a 3-team trade away. I have no idea. It just pops up on me. So,
right. And we just got a good question here from Oscar in the chat room. Since we're kind of talking about values and possibly guys coming back, he's asking about Jalen Brown. Has his value dropped at all? Kemba Walker's kind of back into the fold now. Jason Tatum is back as well. John, did you want to start and give some Jalen Brown thoughts?
Jalen seems pretty influential or instrumental, maybe for a better word, in their system this season. I said at the beginning of the year, I thought the Gordon Hayward subtraction was a really big addition by subtraction for Jalen Brown especially. I thought there could be some benefits for Tatum, but I just thought Brown was going to be the main beneficiary of that loss. And so far that's really borne out that way. I do think a healthier, Kemba and a fully functional Tatum, because Tatum's COVID right now, right? He's not like injured.
He just came back.
Yep.
Yeah. So Tatum's back. I mean, and Tatum's going to be fine. I think Kemba is, even though he can score wildly, I think he is more of a true facilitator than people give him credit for. And while Tatum's amazing and could have 50-point games every single night, that's just not what they want to do with that team. I think Brown, he might drop off a little bit with both of those guys fully in the rotation, but I think he's still going to be, especially for where you drafted him, I think he's still really, really good value. And I think he's a really, good piece, one of those really good mid-round draft picks that is an essential piece to a championship team. Now, I think you could trade him, maybe try to trade him a little high right now and get something good back. But Brown seems like he's also not a guy who's missed a lot of games in his career. I like Jalen Brown. I've been drinking a lot of his Kool-Aid. I just bought a really expensive Jalen Brown Top Shot. So, I mean, I'm all in on Jalen Brown, but I think there's good reasons and logic behind me being all in on him.
So something that I'm looking at a little closely here is, so within the last 7 days compared to his season stats, this is kind of a good indication. They did have a weird game against Cleveland where he only played 19 minutes, but he scored 33 points. So the minutes are down a little bit, but I would assume the minutes are going to hover around 32. But his points are actually up with Kemba, and his rebounds down a little bit. The assist is the big one because now the ball's less in his hand. So he's down almost a full assist over the last 7 days. But everything else is really similar. So I don't really see Kemba interfering with things too much. Maybe we'll get some more data with all three, Kemba, Tatum, and Brown on the floor. But again, those three, like that's the entire offense for them. So I don't see this as a sell high guy at all. I'm holding on to Brown, especially just because we kind of harped on him in the pre-draft process. He was we reached on him in the 4th round. He's a 5th round pick. This is a value. I'm not looking to sell Jalen Brown at any point here. Drake, did you have anything to add? Because you're the Tatum owner, correct?
Correct. No, but I agree 100%. Jalen Brown has carved his spot in this offense, and like you said, some of the stats are going to go down a little, but Jalen Brown's still going to do exactly what he's been doing all year, I believe.
And I'm excited to see what the Celtics got going on now that they're healthy. I think are they the 2nd in the East right now? I believe.
I don't know. That's a good question. They are.
10 and 6. I don't know how Philly's chilling at number 1 here. They've had so many weird things going on with their season, so that's kind of impressive. But before we leave the Boston Celtics, I did want to talk up one guy that I think
oh boy, here it comes.
I was able to snag him and put him on the team. And it's not so much for this week. He only has 2 games remaining on the schedule. But when I play Drake next weekend, I'm dropping 4 Daniel Tice games into the lineup. So little excited, just looking forward a little bit here. But man, you see this trend that he's been on the last few games, getting, averaging almost 26 minutes per game. He's scoring 16 and a half. The rebounds have been consistent, about 5 per game. But I like the assists, steals, and blocks. He's been kind of filling this out the last few games. So 44, 38, 37, some nice, really big boom games. And he's only about 18% owned. And again, he's got 4 games next weekend. So I'm looking to score. If I can get 80, that's great. But there's potential for 100 or so in those 4 games. So I did want to just kind of shout him out real quick for the Boston Celtics. Where do we go from here, guys? Should we answer another question? We got another one. I think it was just Drake when we were doing these last week, but I don't know if John was there at the end of the show. But Aiden's asking us to start, bench, and cut Jeremy Lamb, Derrick Rose, and Joe Harris. John, were you here when we did this last Thursday?
I was not here for that. No,
Okay.
I was on that call for a little bit, but I just had to go watch that Bucks game. I had to watch my Bucks lose again. So no, I was not here.
So yeah, towards the end of the show, we got one of the questions. Someone just did start, bench, cut, and they just threw some names, and then we kind of kept getting a bunch of them. So this is a really interesting one because it's Jeremy Lamb, Derrick Rose, and Joe Harris. I think for me, I'm starting Jeremy Lamb for sure, and then it's tough between D Rose and Harris. I think is Derrick Rose healthy right now?
I believe he is.
But he's missed the last 2 games. It looks like he's got a knee. He's not on the injury report for tomorrow's night. So he kind of misses. He missed a little chunk of games here, but when he plays, he's been pretty good. I don't know if I need him on my roster though. He might be on the bench, and let's see what Joe Harris is up to. So Joe Harris averaging almost 24 fantasy points. Joe Harris don't miss games. I like this. A bit inconsistent, but if you just leave him in and you get the 3 to 4 games per week, I think I'm going to value Joe Harris's consistency a little bit more than D Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I'm starting Lamb. I'm going to bench Harris, and I'm going to cut D Rose. I don't know, Drake. Did you have any? Who you start benching, cutting?
Same.
John.
I mean, Lamb is still so shiny and new. I get nervous. You pull. Harris has the lowest output of all three of these players, but he's not missed a game all year as far as we can tell. I probably agree with you guys, but I Harrison and Rose are out there proving it night in and night out. Yeah, Rose is missing a couple games, but he needs the maintenance. He's got a lot of tread on those tires. So,
and we know Killian Hayes ain't coming back anytime.
So what's the
Killian
answer?
ain't coming back.
What's the answer?
I think either way, I'm starting Jeremy Lamb until further notice. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this question.
I think you could make an argument that you'd start Joe Harris, though, if you want just consistent points. If you just
that was my argument, but I'm going start Lamb, bench Harris, and cut Rose. As sad as it makes me, because this is a pretty. I don't know if anyone's going to find a question where the if they give us one more of these. I don't know if anyone's going to give us three options that are this close to me.
Yeah, it's all very close.
We need Dalton to give us a start bench cut. But before we get to that, I just want to point out here, I like looking at these interesting comparisons where it shows the season stats in the last 7 days, essentially, before Harden and now with Harden. Harris's minutes are up almost 5 minutes a game. The scoring is down just a bucket, but more rebounds, more assists, and kind of whatever for steals and blocks. So he's actually, I don't know, a big minutes boost here in these games with that. I think this was the overtime game, though, the double overtime.
They have no depth, Kyle. They have no depth at all.
Again, for someone who stresses minutes as much, I think I'm keeping Joe
Harris for sure.
Keeping Joe Harris on that one. So that was a fun question. Dalton wants to know, what is Drake drinking?
That is sadly just iced tea and lemonade, sir.
Iced tea and lemonade.
Just a little homemade Arnie Palmer alert.
Arnie Palmer? Oh, baby. I kind of want to look and see what else we got. We got another one from Aiden here. He wants to start cut Daniel House, and Hardaway Jr. and Gary Harris. Drake, did you have any strong feelings on those three?
As a guy that dips into the Gary Harris pool a lot, he's got a lot of minutes. That's about all I can say about Gary Harris, is that he will get some minutes. Maybe cut him.
All right, let's just look at Daniel House real quick.
And that's without knowing what Daniel House is doing. Actually,
I was going to try to not look at their stats, but I immediately realized Drake was talking about them, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. House gets cut.
In a while.
Definitely cut House at this point.
Cut, and I'm going to say start Tim and bench Gary. I don't know the Hardaway stats on the top of the dome, but I think he's pretty solid.
That. Hardaway's looking pretty good.
He's having a good year.
Yep.
And I like how you said that, Drake. I've also been known to dip my toe in the Gary Harris pool a time or two.
Oh man, the Gary pool. You gotta go sometime. But I'm just kind of looking.
Water is not warm.
It might be warm for the wrong reasons. Maybe. But I don't know. Where do we go from here? Did you guys have any? I guess this, because I can't remember who I had the conversation with about Clint Capella last week. I think it was John, and we're like, "There's no way he can keep up these 50-point games." And he says,
"I never get this."
I heard you guys see what's going on.
Capella has made me look like a damn fool. I'll put it that way.
So when we recorded that show last week, he just dropped this 56 and the 54, and we said
he's got 16 already tonight.
We said that he can keep it going if he gets the minutes. So technically we were fine, but we expected it to come down. But oh my goodness, 10 blocks on the 22nd.
That is a rude way to end the week.
Wow. This was a tilter for our league last week. Mike Schmidt was able to beat our top team, Dalton. So Clint Capella, man, looks like Dalton just entered in a start bench cut here too, so we can get to that in a second. But any thoughts?
Go back to that. 13 points and 70 fantasy points. My good Lord.
10 blocks.
A
triple double with blocks. I'd like to know when the last time that's been done. I
think you could maybe count because they didn't count blocks as a stat until like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was like in his 30s. So I think you can literally count on one hand the number of times there's been triple doubles in the NBA with blocks included. Of course, there's probably been thousands of them because Wilt literally probably has 100 plus of those games. But I'll look it up quick if I can.
All right, and then we got a hot start bench question here from Dalton. He's asking about Dante DiVincenzo, LaMarcus Aldridge, and one of the Ball brothers. I think we should be able to choose LaMelo or Lonzo, whatever one we want.
Yeah, pick your own ball. Yeah, I agree.
This one's tough. I think.
Yeah, let's look up some stats here.
But off the top of your head, real quick, you're probably going to lean towards benching or cutting DiVincenzo, but maybe that might be the wrong move. So we're going to start with DiVincenzo. On the season, he's averaging 22.1. 61% owned. I like that. Just on a consistency basis, he's only missed one game, so we like that. I don't really care for these team numbers, but you see him kind of dipping into the 20s, sometimes the 30 every now and then. So this looks like a guy. This guy's rosterable. He's not an elite starter, but I do like the 22 average here. The minutes are a little bit low for a starter. But just it's kind of inconsistent. It's a different category almost every night, it looks like. But he's very active in the steals department. So if you play categories, I'm a big fan of DiVincenzo. Let's pull up old man Aldridge here. Averaging almost 26 fantasy points per game, about 85% owned. Just in the last couple span of games here, we see some really lows on 11 and 8 to 12. So this one looks really inconsistent. I don't know what's been going on with the minutes here either. These are kind of all across the board. I guess just between Aldridge and DiVincenzo, is it easily like take Aldridge, or do you like the consistency that DiVincenzo brings?
I'm going start DiVincenzo, bench Aldridge, and cut LaMelo.
LaMelo kind of.
Excuse me, LiAngelo. That's I wanted to make the cut one really easy. I get that.
No LiAngelo. You got to do one.
He ain't even on there.
So I'm assuming Dalton's probably talking about Lonzo Ball because Dalton actually cut Lonzo Ball not too long ago. So let's just pull up what Lonzo's been doing. He's been kind of inconsistent this year. He hasn't really taken off. He did miss a few games here, I think with was it an ankle or back spasms? I think it was. But 34, 18, 23. This kind of seems equal to DiVincenzo, but maybe with a little bit more upside for minutes and a little bit more star power.
Yeah, I think I cut
DiVincenzo,
and I keep Ball and Aldridge. Probably start Aldridge as long as he's playing. You're going to get consistent scores and minutes there, I think.
While we're here, let's just check the other Ball real quick. Averaging 30 points per game on the season.
So I think we would all agree we'd keep LaMelo on that point there.
So I think what we're going to do is are we starting a Ball and keeping Aldridge on the bench and cutting DiVincenzo?
That's what I'm going to do.
I'm going to start the Ball.
I'm cutting LiAngelo. But if you're forcing me to pick a player who is in the league right now, yeah, I'll definitely start LaMelo or Lonzo, bench Dante, and then cut Aldridge. Kyle, I don't know if you're interested. If you guys are still interested in those triple doubles with blocks, but yep. I pulled it up. I don't. If you want me to share it, I can.
Yeah,
please do.
Yeah, so this is a little more frequent than I thought it was. What I pulled up only is going back since 2010, but it's happened 8 times, now 9 times since 2010, given the Capello one. But the most Kyle, you asked the most recent person to do it. As far as I can tell, the most recent person to do it was Anthony Davis, actually, in New Orleans 2 years ago on his 25th birthday, no less, which is kind of interesting. But so this is what I have here. So since 2010, we have nice work, Dalton. Almost called you Dante. That's why you can't cut him. So since 2010, we've got Hassan Whiteside with 4 triple doubles with blocks. Everyone else has only done it 1 time, by the way. The other guys are Roy Hibbert, Joakim Noah, Larry Sanders, Serge Ibaka, JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, and then, of course, the Michael Schmidt's pride and joy, Clint Capella.
Capella did it?
Yeah, we just looked at it.
Yeah, I was thinking like before. Maybe he did it once before, but just.
Oh yeah, well I was including what happened a
Okay.
couple days ago.
I thought I'm like, no way he's done it. He's on that list twice. That's pretty
I'm
remarkable.
most surprised LeBron hasn't done it.
That seems like a LeBron thing to do, especially
The blocks, though.
as he got
Well,
as he's gotten older and he's played more
Yeah.
4-5.
Hard to get.
I'm
to
gonna look
10
now. I'm gonna look this up. I bet he's never had more than 6 blocks in a game. Drake.
That's
What do you
probably
think?
true.
We got Aiden asking, should I trade Harden for the Greek Freak? Is this this is
Yeah.
to me
Who's that?
this is easy yes here. We'll go back to our standard
There's some Greek fries too.
some Greek fries, get a couple whatever they're called. Why can't I euros? There we go. Get some
Yep.
euros with that deal. Harden probably wants some euros at that point. But, another one is start bench cut. Who's AE? AE. Chede and Terrence Ross. Who's AE?
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards. There we
Okay.
go.
All right.
Would you guys agree? I don't know any
Yeah.
other AE off the top of the dome, and that one took me a while.
It kind of fits perfectly though with the Chetty and the Ross. That's kind of in that window of guys that are fringe owned.
Yep.
Edwards, I do like the output that we're seeing here, but it's not very consistent. And yeah, Aiden says it is Edwards here. So
The Timberwolves themselves just are not consistent. I don't want much to do with them.
So I think we're all in agreement that we're cutting Mr. Edwards, and then it's going to be between Terrence Ross and Chetty Osman.
I'll take Ross over Osman
Yeah.
without seeing the stats.
You have to
but,
just start Terrence Ross. 24 points.
I don't know, Chetty way, especially he's got 24 points average, but a big chunk of that is recent. So that's more impressive than I thought for Chetty.
Look at this range of outcomes. You get 18 minutes, 32, 29, 50. It's at this point.
Yep.
Now that they got more big men in there. Before Jarrett Allen arrived, he was playing really consistent minutes here. You see him come somewhere in the mid 30s for minutes and just being a good player here. So we're going to hold on to him. We're going to bench Osman. And then with Terrence Ross, I've actually been a little bit frustrated as a Ross owner as of late. He's been a little inconsistent. A couple low points here of a 15, a 14. But again, the dude's averaging, 20, almost 23 fantasy points per game. He's under 40% owned. He should be owned, I think, even in like maybe 10, 12-man leagues. So he's going to be one of their best scorers off the bench for them.
So maybe right now you could make the argument that you're starting Osman.
Right. And
this week.
It's dependent.
You could ride the hot hand.
As long as Kevin Love is out, I might say I'll give me Osman up until that point, or unless Orlando's playing a bottom team and you feel like Ross is going to get the minutes that week, it's kind of
we're going to see some Ross pop games though.
Right.
That always happens.
And then we got another start bench one. This one's kind of interesting as well. We got Jeremy Lamb, we got Shake Milton, and Cam Reddish. John, what's up with Cam Reddish right now? He's out tonight, I believe.
Achilles, but nothing. It's nothing serious, which is still scary because it's an Achilles injury. But I would probably go Lamb, start Lamb, bench Reddish, and then cut Shake. But I don't know Shake's stats off the top of my head, so that makes me nervous. I could be wrong here.
In some good ball lately.
Shake's looking good. I mean, and he doesn't have an injured Achilles, so maybe give me Shake. I don't know.
Maybe not the last 4 games, but before his COVID and his injury stuff, I mean, the dude was one of their best scorers off the bench here. So I think we're all in agreement that we're probably starting Lamb, and it's tough between Reddish and Shake because as long as Reddish is out with that Achilles injury, he's not. Is Reddish a starter when he's healthy still?
For his team or on my fantasy team?
For Atlanta.
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, he's. I believe it's him, Hunter, Capella, Trey, and Herter that are starters. But you'll tell me if I'm wrong in just a second. No, Collins. Of course, it's Collins. Yeah, so Reddish is off the bench. Yeah, that makes sense to me though. Starter.
So maybe, and Herter's actually been playing some good minutes and some good ball lately too. So that might be a little bit more reason to go Shake.
Yeah,
a toss up. I think if you're feeling one or the other, if you want to hold Reddish, put him in the IR even. I think that's totally acceptable as well. And then we'll do one more start bench, and then I guess we're going on the last 10 minutes of the show. We can kind of, if you guys want to think about what to finish the show with. But he's asking Wayne Ellington, who I actually kind of talked about him last night. He's a buy low free agent that I kind of like. Otherwise, Patty Mills or Davis Bertans, who hasn't played in a while. So I think we're going to leave Bertans probably on the cut list. And I think it's between Ellington and Patty Mills. John, did you have any thoughts on that real quick before we look at the numbers?
Yeah, I don't know either of these guys' numbers off the top of my head. So give me Ellington because you talked about him, so he must be spicy, and then I'll do Patty after that. So I'll start Ellington, bench Patty. Going in pretty blind here.
I think we got to start Mr. Wayne Ellington. The last handful of games, man, this guy should be owned. He's been putting up. He's a pure scorer. He's not going to help too much in the rebounds, assists. Somewhat active in the steals, but he's been scoring at a really good clip lately for the Pistons. And averaging 19.4 points, under 15% owned. Again, you look at the last 7 days compared to the season stats, and pretty much everything's up. Every stat is up. So maybe Derrick Rose, healthy returns, kind of limits this, but I'm going to roll with Wayne Ellington, I think, for the start. What's Krabby Patty Mills up to here? 21.4 points on the season, about 26% owned. Looking stoned out of his mind here. But, that's okay. 21 minutes, 37, 24. So I like this consistency for minutes, somewhere in the 25 to 27 minutes per game. Scoring kind of like hit or miss. There's some low points here. He is pretty chippy, though. He likes to chip in rebounds, assists, steals. I don't see any blocks, but a high floor guy. I don't think this is a guy that I would love to start, but he's worth holding on to maybe on the bench. And then if we just take a look at Davis Bertans and his big zeros here. Hasn't played in a while, it looks like, since the 11th, January 11th here. And when he did play, he's very comparable to Patty Mills with the pretty much the points, and then he'll chip in, kind of loosely with rebounds, assists, and steals. So I think those guys are kind of similar. But with Thomas Bryant out, maybe Bertans gets some more run, going forward. So I might hold on to Bertans because Patty looks like a guy that you can just pretty much get those numbers off the waiver wire at any position. So I'm going to go start Ellington, hold on to Bertans, and we'll let Patty Mills go. Any thoughts on those real quick?
I agree.
Yeah.
Excellent. So we got
Ellington, one other thought, because I'm so smart about basketball. Ellington isn't just a scorer; he's a shooter. All he does is shoot 3-pointers. It's literally all he does. I bet if you looked at his scoring, distribution, it would be 60-70% of his points was coming from threes. Maybe it takes one free throw every 5 games, and maybe gets a couple garbage layups in there. But Ellington if he's streaky. And if he's hot right now, I kind of think he might be a really good pickup. I didn't realize he was performing so nicely.
And because it's Aiden asking the question, I wonder if that's the league where he gets 5 points for a 3-pointer. If that's the case, Ellington, man, that's the easy call.
Yeah, Ellington was built in a lab for your league, Aiden.
And even Davis,
Davis,
you got to keep him. That's what he's going to be doing. And he was a guy I drafted because I was excited about him and Russ and Beal. So it's gonna happen eventually. He's gonna get back into his role. It's just we're slow into the season here still.
And the Wizards, they were off 10 days. So
yeah,
we don't really have a lot of data points with what Washington's doing right now. Bradley Beal, Westbrook, Hachimura, these are probably the top.
I don't even know when he's going to come back. I just keep getting notifications that because of COVID protocols, he's not playing. That's all I know. I don't know if he has COVID. I don't know if he knows someone that has COVID. It's pretty limited information you get. They just call it COVID protocols in the NBA.
They need some of those COVID sniffing dogs over in Washington.
Yes, they got to get the dogs everywhere.
Release the hounds.
We need more dogs.
I think one thing that's interesting about this from a purely fantasy perspective is if they make these games up. Also, you guys, vaping is bad, and both of you just vape, so I'm obviously going to outlive both of you. But anyway, are they going to make these games up And if they do, it's obviously high likelihood second half of the season because that schedule hasn't even been announced yet.
Right.
So there's a little bit of game theory here. Like if you snag these, if you're thinking about cutting people, and you're on the fence about it, you maybe try to hold your Wizards guys, or you maybe try to hold, your Grizzlies guys, other teams or any other team that's missed a bunch of games due to COVID.
Well,
and perhaps, and I can't guarantee this because none of us know what the hell's going to happen, but perhaps some new games get added at the end of the season, and perhaps some of those games get added during your fantasy playoffs. All of a sudden you're sitting on a bunch of Robin Lopez and Davis Bertans and Rui Hachimura and Ja Morant and Brandon Clark minutes, and all of a sudden they just have like 5 games a week in the playoffs, and you're laughing all the way to the bank. So
Tyus Jones is a guy to look at in the free agency since we're looking at it. Once he starts playing, I looked at adding him with Ja out.
This was a guy that I rode him while Ja was out, and I cut him as soon as Ja came back. And I kind of had that, dang it, I should have held on to him because he just comes out and he played well. Like I should have known that he would have continued to play well. Just the minute come down a little bit, but he's kind of grandfathered into that offense. He knows the timing of things, and he's playing the second team, which he should have better outcomes for his numbers too. So in the 2 games that he did play with Ja, 25.25 and 20. So like that's, if you can get 22, 23 points average out of him, this is definitely a guy only 8% owned. Definitely keep an eye out for Tyus Jones. And then I did want to say Jaren Jackson, like they're starting to speculate when he's coming back, and they're saying he will not play Wednesday. So that means he's really close to playing. If they're like 50-50, if he's going to start playing, tomorrow night, it looks like Jaren Jackson's going to be back soon. He's 71% owned, so there's a small percentage chance that he's available in your league. Jaren Jackson should come back, but I don't know. How do you guys want to finish the show? Any other final thoughts on things?
One little Grizzlies thought: Jaren Jackson's return could be a bad thing for Brandon Clark. Now, I have had a really hard time, thinking through this multiple times this year. I've talked about this a couple different times on the pod, but I wonder if this is maybe a sell high moment for Brandon Clark. I don't know if I even agree with that statement, by the way. I really like Brandon Clark. I talked a lot about how I think he could just steal Jaren Jackson's job this year because Jackson's going to be out a month or 2 before he comes back from injury. And so far, what I've seen from Clark makes me think he maybe has successfully done that. Maybe he truly has stolen that power forward position from Jaren Jackson. But if you're having any concerns, if you're not super satisfied with what you're getting out of Brandon Clark, this could be a good sell high opportunity. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, and it's a shame that they have their COVID situation going on right now, because if you just open up his box score and you see, these 32s, these 44s, and these lows of 20s, and you just see that, filtered throughout the whole thing, that's an attractive guy to get on your team. So maybe when they get started back this week, we would expect Jaren Jackson to be brought along slowly. So you might have a couple games to see what Clark does. If he has a big game, that might be the time to move him before Jackson gets kind of heated up. But I want to get in one Washington Wizards take real quick, because I am riding the Robin Lopez roller coaster this week. We'll see what happens. He's already got 7.5 points tonight. But just because of the nature of this team and what's going on, they have guys in and out. But he played 24 minutes on Sunday night, 8.7 boards, 5 assists, and a block. So 25 points. This is just a guy that I added because there's only 3 games tonight. I wanted to get someone extra in there. I think he plays maybe tomorrow night and Friday or something too. So this is a center that's getting some opportunity. And I don't know. I'm just hoping for 20 points tonight, but we'll see what happens there. But Drake, we're going on 58 minutes here. Any final thoughts on the show tonight?
Let's talk about Top Shot.
Top Shot. Should I pull it up?
Yeah. So John and our other buddy Jesse, who comes on for the fantasy football shows, got me into this. It's a virtual. Let's let John explain it better to me. I just got my first pack today. It was a crazy rush trying to get one. Out of 5 attempts, I got 1. So, and
Well, I just got my first pack today. So first thing to say about all this is in beta right now. This is very much infant stages, and as a result, there's a lot of glitching, there's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of internet tears, if you will. So don't if you're gonna go gung ho into this, just be prepared for some frustration and some aggravation. Despite that, though, this is
something to just kind of look into.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just throw a couple thousand at it, no big deal. But so this is the way I've been describing it to people, and I'm not an expert on any of these subjects, by the way. But the way I've been describing it to people is it's some sort of hybrid or fusion between trading cards, cryptocurrency.
Just kind of a new modern trading card where you're getting some pretty cool highlight plays. When you go to buy a pack here for $9, you're going to get a set of 3 moments. And essentially, you are the owner of that moment. You're able to just add them to your collection. You're able to hold on to them. But if you want, you can go to the marketplace and post these things for sale. Now, there's some crazy things that are for sale here. If we just click on the most valuable listings, I mean,
let me just kick this off. They had $6.4 million worth of transactions yesterday, and then the day before they had $7 million worth of transactions. There's multiple moments being sold for like $100,000. Now those are the max. I mean, you can get some for as cheap as $2-3, but it's just interesting.
So here we're looking at a John Morant massive dunk here for $100,000. Simple asking price of $100,000 here. That's the highest bid on the website. And let's just take a look at this Luka play real quick. I guess it's a dunk here. I'm not sure who it's on, but it's very nice. I don't know. I don't know how often you're going to get some of these balling, these fantastic high end moments here. I think for the most part, you're going to probably get just like a guy making a nice pass or something like that. So, you kind of have to just lower your expectations. But did you guys want to talk about any of the cool ones that you guys have landed on?
In my pack, let's talk about our favorite moment from our packs today, Drake. I got a Taco Fall block on Russell Westbrook, no less, in my pack today. So it was a $9 pack. You get 3 moments. I immediately put it on the marketplace for $20 because I figure someone's gonna. Yep, there you go. Someone's trying to sell it for 2, so they're probably gonna do better than me. But maybe mine will sell after. So yeah, that was the moment I got.
That's a weak block. It's okay though.
It's a weak block, but he's 7'6" and it's Taco Fall, and he's got such a cult following.
Is that his first career block? Maybe. No, nothing like
No.
that.
I don't think so.
No.
That's from this year. Okay, yeah, from 21. Okay, cool. And then Drake, you had the Trae Young assist, correct?
Yeah, I got a Trae Young assist that apparently John and Jesse had to explain to me the importance that it is a one of its kind, so it's never going to be made again.
One here, the LE.
Yeah, but
not that one.
No, definitely not that one.
Handles.
It was too
common here. You saw the comment, the handles.
Yeah.
Do you know the date? Do you know the date, Drake?
Let me look it up.
It's the play here against, it looks like Denver.
No, not this one. It was an assist.
So I'm looking for a common LE.
Maybe that one on the top right.
This one says handles. It's common. Assist here. Got an assist against Memphis, pass to Kevin.
Yeah, that's it.
Excellent.
Yeah, you're gonna make a lot of money on that. The lowest price right now is $40, Drake. I mean, you could sell that for $35 tonight if you really wanted to, and you triple your money on that pack, and you still have the 2 other moments.
Yeah, so essentially this cost him $3 and maybe a quarter or some change here. So that's a 10xer essentially, maybe 10, 12. So kind of fun. These are kind of the new future of trading cards, and you get to use these moments as collection pieces. You can actually hold on to them. Like if I got a rookie making a play, I'm going to hold on to that and maybe see what happens with the market down the road. But man, you can just buy it. And what's crazy is I think Jesse said that like you have a set of 25,000 and they sold out in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So these.
Yeah, they're the selling today was a little weird because they just kind of kept releasing new packs, but they're trying. It's because it's in beta. They're trying new strategies for pack releases right now. So like I said, it could be kind of annoying at first. It might. I mean, I've been doing it for a week and I got really annoyed today just trying to buy my first pack. So I wish everyone luck, but it seems like it's an emerging market. Will that last? That's a great question, but for right now, it's kind of fun.
And I mean, they got this is kind of backed by the NBA, and there's some players like Tyler Hero's actually doing kind of like a promo where he's talking about it a little bit here. So this isn't going anywhere. This is going to be here for a while. And I tried to sign up today a couple hours ago, and they told me when I went to submit my payment and just get my info in there, they said check back in 2 or 3 days. So
Yeah.
So I'll see what happens.
There's a lot of that in that, and that's what John was talking about. It's it's not like you're clicking on something and it's going to be automatically that like you're used to. It's just in its early beta stages and they're figuring stuff out, but it's worth it. It's fun. And if you're a basketball fan, I mean, you don't even have to spend a lot of money. You can just buy packs or buy fun little moments. That's what I think John bought a Middleton moment that he really liked and doubled his money on it the other night.
You bought it?
Sunday Night Cash.
Yeah, this with the strip one on the top right, I bought that for 175, and I sold it for 300. I did it within a matter of hours, and that was literally the first time. That was the first moment I bought, and it was also the first moment I sold, and I had no idea what I was doing. So it's one of those things where if I can do it, you can probably do it too. But one thing I liked about what Kyle said was not only is it backed by the NBA, I mean, this has literally got sign off by the NBA, but it's also backed by the NBA Players Association. And anyone who follows basketball knows when it comes to decisions about, when does the season start? Should we do a bubble? Whatever. Those are the two entities that have to sign off. The NBA and the NBA Players Association. So both of these groups or organizations, if you will, have given this NBA Top Shot their blessing. But on top of that, they get a small percentage of all the profits. So, the NBA has a vested interest in this thing's success, which is interesting to me. And I think it gives it, I don't know if credibility is the right word, but that's the word that comes to my mind. I think it gives it a little more credibility. So again, you're taking random financial investment advice from people on the internet. I have a lot of credibility too. So, take everything what I say with a little grain of salt. But yeah, this is fun. I've been spending a lot of time on this recently.
And I can paint this as a picture here where this doesn't have to be for financial gain. If you just want to have fun and you just want to buy these and own them and hold on to them, and you can.
And there's going to be a game coming up with it where you can play with your cards against other people, so you will match moments. So if you're just into trading cards and stuff, if you can find a pack here and there, maybe every other week for $9, you're not investing much in it, and it's fun.
And they kind of do a cool thing where there's I think most of the things are kind of this season moments, but I have seen some stuff from the past. So I'm just curious if they're going to kind of keep going farther back in the past.
Yeah, it'd be cool if they pulled out some like the LeBron block or, just like some really key NBA moments.
Right.
They just created a set. I think that's what they call like groups of moments that belong together. They just created a set called Run It Back. And they were all like moments from like 2014, 2015, stuff like that. So they're still so early stages in all this stuff, but I think they have a lot of aspirations. And so I think they will be going back in time, obviously. I don't know how far, will you be able to get one of those cool wilt blocks? I'm not sure.
So I think Dalton's probably going to go check this out after the so it's exciting, I guess. From my standpoint, what can you as an owner of one of these plays and you just want to hold on to it, is do we have legal rights to do anything we want with it? What does it mean to own one of these plays? I guess that's kind of what I'm wrestling with right now. Is it just something that's purely virtual, or I guess what can we do with it?
I mean, you own it, you can sell it, you can hold on to it, and I think maybe John can touch on that more, but you own the rights. I mean, it's your card. It's under your It's tracked by the serial number and everything.
And then here's the thing, they're calling this NBA Top Shot Hard Court, coming soon. Bring your moments to the hard court and use your collections to supercharge your team. So this is going to be a game, and there's going to be an app at some point here. I don't know if there's an app already.
No app yet, no.
Right, but essentially there's going to be some kind of NBA Top Shot game here, probably with an app that should be kind of fun. So this is, again, it's in the beta stage. We'll probably, talk about this on a weekly basis going forward and see what we can do. But very exciting, very exciting. Makes me wonder if the NFL is going to start doing something like what this is going to probably turn some heads. We might see some other leagues follow suit and kind of get in with this new cryptocurrency, as John.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's exactly what it is, though. It's just
So, I don't know. Any other final thoughts on tonight, or I can let you guys get out of here?
Great show, guys. It was always great talking to you guys. Love talking hoops.
I love talking hoops. I love talking crypto. Come back next week for more.
Right. I'll be going live Thursday night. If you guys are free to pop in if you guys would like to, I'll probably do an hour on Thursday night, just answering questions and whatever. But I don't know. That's going to do it for tonight's show. You guys can follow John and Drake at the link below and their Twitter handles. Thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you, John and Drake, for hanging out. We'll see you guys in another video. Have a good one. Peace.
Thanks.